Alright, for this one I wanted to go into detail and talk about the kind of ever after, what I'm calling the ever after for Season 2 of Mob Psycho 100. Season 2, of course, just because this is really an important aspect when trying to craft and write an ending, is basically trying to answer the obvious question of what's going to happen next. What's going to happen in Season 3. What are we going to be working with, more or less? And a lot of this is just going to be set up by what, of course, ends with Season 2. So I just want to talk about, kind of do a, you can almost call it a post-mortem diagnosis and see if Season 2 is what we've got to work with, basically. Because there's an idea in story writing. This is kind of a basic idea for story writing. And then this is that you have the status quo. This is something I learned a lot when going into theater and stage plays and everything. You have status quo, and which is then interrupted, basically. So basically, this is the status quo. This could be something like a happy life, or that's a bit too vague. So we're going to have to do happy marriage. Happy life, happy marriage. Oops, I deleted the wrong one. Perfect. There we go. Happy marriage or something, and then this is the status quo, and then something happens which interrupts it, and then the journey, more or less, is a return to status quo. Let's see. And basically it's the journey and kind of all the obstacles that they overcome when trying to return to SQ. Basically, and this is what this plot kind of builds up of, basically. So that's the kind of some rom-coms and stuff. We'll start off this. We'll start off with let's see, guy, girl, and then the guy will cheat on the girl, and then her journey is to find a new guy. And basically, this is the status quo that is then interrupted in the first 5-10 minutes of the story. And then basically then we have this goes off, and then we're kind of on the journey towards the new guy. So let's see. Cheat. There you go. Basically from there. So this is kind of the idea of it. Another example of the classic one, I think it was in, I can't think of it. It's a stage writing book. I'll think of it later at some point. But basically, it used the example of Hamlet, of course, because of course, it being a book about theater and plays, of course, it's going to talk about Hamlet. So it talks about this. So basically, Hamlet is there. He's just Prince, doing Prince things, and then his dad dies. But that's not necessarily what breaks the status quo. It's his dad dies, then shows up as a ghost. And basically then, says, my brother killed me. There we go. Brother killed me. What are you going to do about it? Basically, that's kind of the beginning. So basically, this whole before is, of course, the status quo, and we're trying to return to status quo, which is, you can say, is a peaceful kingdom, or return the way it was, which was a just world, and now we exist in an unjust space, and kind of returning to this. So this is what a lot of stories will work towards, which kind of makes writing sequels difficult. There's kind of a trope in the idea that the sequels generally kind of fail to do everything right that the original first part of the story succeeded in. So kind of the reason why is basically start off with, let's see, our main character, and we have a goal. From here, we have this, we have the journey, the typical journey moving forward, this, we have trials, whatever you want to call it, included at, and then we enter the goal. Of course, this is not a straight line, it'll be more zigzaggy from here, and this, and then right before success, we have the deepest point, and then back up, and then success. This is kind of what it looks like, and over here is the goal. This is the, where you get the gold, glory, and girl, or guy, depending on who our main character is. This is kind of the trifecta of victory, basically, as you were. And so it's going to include all of those things. Sorry, I'm getting something in my eye. Include all those things when going forward with everything. So basically, this is what the story is going to be made of. So now the problem, though, is let's say we were going to be, this is our story A, basically. So now we've produced this, it's gone to the movies, won all the Oscars and everything, everyone loves it. So now all the people with lots of money who hand it out to people who want to make movies, they have come to you and they want story A2. I was going to say it could be still called story B, but no, it's A2 because they get to come up with the title. Let's see. The sequel. Now we've got to come up with this. So now this is the interesting part, though, because we've got a status quo and we've got to interrupt it. Oops. We got a status quo, we got to interrupt it in order for there to be this story. Because basically this, of course, if it went down this way, this is a tragedy. Then this is, let's say this is a rom-com or some sort of story like that. This is not any sort of a story that we want to be a tragedy, obviously. I don't really care for tragedies. Maybe this is what you're after, but basically that's where it starts. So let's say presumably we're going to go for this one. You know, this is good, this is bad, this is what we're going for. So we got story A2, the sequel. Now the problem, though, is basically we have to go up. And so this is kind of an upward in terms of success, upward in terms of action, trajectory. You know, the guy who starts off with $1 and ends with $1 million is a very different story from the guy who starts with $100,000 and ends with $120,000. You know, the difference basically there is, you know, from here to here versus here to here, basically. You know, the difference in levels from point to point to point to point. You know, these two are two completely different stories, and they look completely different in terms of the action, basically. What are they trying to succeed? You know, are you trying to make someone's life a little bit better, or are you trying to change their life forever? And Alfred Hitchcock had a great quote saying that movies are stories. I think it's stories are movies, but we'll go with movies right now. Movies are just everyday life with the boring parts cut out, was essentially it. So it's like we're cutting all the boring parts out, but it also is exciting. It's got to have this rising action, and this is just not gonna cut it. So now we got here. So what we're gonna start with, we're just gonna come up with some brainstorming ideas. So what we've got to figure out now is what are we starting with. So what we've got a main character who's wealthy. Let's see, he is wealthy in some instance. He's wealthy. He is famous. And then he has a wife who's been of some sort, basically. And this is where it starts. Now, what is up from here, basically? And this is a question. What is going to be up from here? And this is where most people get stuck. They don't know how to bridge this. Basically, where to go from here, how to create a proper status quo. So usually what they'll do is they'll just subtract all these things, basically. So they'll take away the wealth, they'll take away the fame, and or wife and husband, and then the main character starts at basically the same spot as over here. Basically the same as over here. It's just the same. And it's like, ha ha la da. So there we're at, basically, and that's what we're trying to figure out what to do and what to do next. So this is I would say this is definitely a very bad option. Maybe not, maybe you can do it right, but generally the way I see it is it's bad. That's the reason why I think people hate sequels, is they oftentimes even make the original story even worse, because this ending feels a lot less good, a lot less impactful, a lot less final if it's going to immediately in the next movie get ripped up. The worst offender of this is the one that stuck with me, is let's see, National Treasure 2. Good old Nick Cage, good or bad. Let's see, 2, whatever it is, Island of Lost Dreams, I don't know what it's called. We'll just call it from that. National Treasure 2. From there. So basically, you know, it ends with Nicolas Cage, where he successfully saves the Declaration of Independence. He steals it and saves the day, and then discovers a bunch of treasure, basically. So he's kind of got the gold less so this one. He's famous. He's figured out the super secret treasure of the yonder pot of gold underneath somewhere in DC, wherever it is. It's been a while. And then he gets the girl. Ching, basically. So he's got these, more or less. And he's got the gold in the sense that he's now very successful and people like him, basically. So he's kind of set up with his career-wise. At least that's the presumption. You know, the movie doesn't end with the presumption that he's going to be homeless and anything like that. So then the second one starts off with Ed Harris, I want to say. Ed Harris, I think that's his name. You know, I found the treasure. I found it, and no one will ever know. That's him. Let's see. He starts by basically removing the glory, basically talking about how your grandfather is a piece of ... Or I think it's just liar. I don't remember. Or maybe he killed Abraham Lincoln or something. He frames him for killing Abraham Lincoln, which, you know, props to Ed Harris for being able to do that. The wife, I said the wife, Diane, I don't remember her name, Diane Kruger. I think that's her. She divorces him or leaves him. I don't know if they're ever actually married, but divorces him, and he doesn't have much money. No money. And even worse, Riley, his best bud, gets his car impounded. So no car. No car from there. No car at all. So basically, now what we've got is this is now the beginning of our sequel, basically. So what we've got is essentially they spent about 5 to 10 minutes to completely undo everything that the first movie did in about 2 hours or so, roughly. Hallelujah. So that is just a terrible start. And this is the reason why I think sequels get such a bad name. Justifiable in this case, but basically because not only do they do a terrible idea setting up their own story, they completely pull apart and ruin their existing story. And this is the reason why. Because basically this upward motion is really hard. And they're trying to figure out what's better than this. Now, the problem is there is ways to kind of do this where, hey, like you have more problems, but the problem is they seem to basically have this idea of the main character must exist at 0. Basically, we're going to call this 0. So 0 is none of these. The 3 Gs, basically, of gold, glory, guy, and girl. Basically, the 3 Gs of success. There we go. Of success. Basically none of these. So we got none of this to work with, so now this is where we're at. So this is kind of the reason why I want to, in context for this one, we're going to look at where can we go from the ending of Mob Psycho, basically. What does this set up, basically? And so this is, what we've got is, you know, so Mob is, and this is where it's done really, really cleverly in terms of this, where they keep it hidden. So Mob saves the day, but no one knows. No, so basically if we're thinking, I always like to use elevation more or less for this. So if we've got 3 steps, let's say here, 1 and 2, and this is, let's see, nothing. I don't know, this is neutral. This is nothing is happening, basically. So right here, for 1, we've got Mob saves the day. Mob saves the day. This is number 1. And then number 2 is the same, but everyone knows. But all know. So basically this is the upward trajectory of success in a story, basically. So it's one level to simply say, you know, he simply saves the day. The next upward trajectory is that everyone knows it and recognizes it. So basically now he ends it with Mob saving the day, but nobody knows. So this is here. So this kind of gives a natural upward swing from here. The other thing that it does is, it could be that everyone knows, but then the next step does all the same things, but from a bigger bad guy. And this is the most common one that people do. Basically from here is they just find a bigger and badder bad guy, basically to continue going up and up and up and up from. You know, superhero movies do this. My favorite example is always Dragon Ball Z, where basically you have characters with levels, more or less. You have like a level 1 guy. Let's see. Level 1 guy, and then you kill him, and you got a level 2 guy. And then, you know, stakes got to rise. So we're going to double it. We're going to do level 4. And we're going to go up even crazier. We're going to do level 20, and basically it goes up there until it just gets insane, basically, from there. But either way, you get the idea. There's a sense of progression for it. And all the enemies kind of follow this track. Because this is the road to success, and you want their character to constantly be moving forward. You don't want to move backwards. You don't want Naruto to fail the Chunin exam or something like this, 2 years into Shippuden. He needs to continually move up. He's got to be doing better. There's this road to success, and he needs to follow it, more or less. So this is kind of a way that we could go from here. So if we were trying to figure out what we were going to write, if we were in charge of writing Mob Psycho Season 3, this is a direction we could go from here. On this aspect. He saves the day, but no one knows. From there. The other aspect is you could kind of do this is just change what the metric is. So right now this is for psychic powers, but you could maybe have it would be hard to do this. You technically could, but you could have one where psychic power, a season where psychic powers just don't come up. It's all about social skills. Social skills or romance, it just becomes a romantic comedy, basically. It's all about romance. You get the girl, yes, you succeed. If you know, you fail. From there, that's what the story could be about. It could be a mystery. I don't know if many shows can do like a genre pivot quite like this and actually succeed, so I don't recommend it. Some of them can probably do it if they set it up properly. This one is definitely not. We kind of know what the show Mob Psycho is about, and we want it to continue with that way, and I hope it will, and I think it will. But we got the psychic powers, that metric from here. So basically, though, if we were writing Season 3, this is what we can do. We can go, okay, so the next level is them trying to figure out Mob Psycho, who's dead. So now he has to save the day, and no one knows. Or something like that. And you go, or the next way is he gets national attention, and then you can kind of introduce stronger and stronger psychics from there once he becomes well-known or something like that. I hope he doesn't become well-known, because I like him being the daily school life, but these are different ways. So this is kind of one way to go up from here. One thing which I thought was just really, really, really well done is where we have Serizawa, who previously worked for Suzuki. I keep forgetting his name, but he's the dad from here. Let's see. I'm pulling up my list of characters. Apparently, it doesn't exist on this. And this is... Okay, I think it's Suzuki, I want to say. I'm almost positive, 'cause I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Suzuki. Suzuki's henchman, basically. But Serizawa goes to work for Reagan, however you say it. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Goes to work for him, and what this does, and this is at the end of Season 3. So what this does is you don't really want Mob to stop working for Reagan, because basically that's more or less most of what the story that we know is this continual pattern of we get clients, we've got clients over here, we've got problems, usually in the form of monsters or something like that. And then you solve them, and then the end. Basically, this is kind of where it's at. 1, 2, 3, the end. Basically, this is kind of how it goes. And we like this. It's a very comforting pattern. This works very well for the story and kind of interlacing it, kind of giving it, and you can weave this in between a main plot line very easily and kind of have it progress and go from there, and that works out really nicely. So we really do like that. But what this does is Serizawa as an interesting character. One, we kind of talked previously about reusing characters, so we've already got a very established character. It's kind of cheeky and cheesy and just poorly done if you were to pull this out of a hat and suddenly introduce him. But now we've had him introduced, we've had his character development, we have power introduced, time efficiency, all the reasons that we plan ahead, so it feels real in the story as opposed to suddenly I need this. I don't know what this is, but plan ahead. All these Serizawa's got, and he's a psychic, and He's completely terrible at social skills. He's even worse than Mob. So him and Reagan are perfect together. They can basically continue the whole practice by themselves. But what this does is this frees Mob up to follow different routes. We can find a different daily that he needs from here. So basically we have no negative elements with Mob leaving Reagan's practice and only positive. It kind of provides a natural growth. Where things change, but basically what you have is when you have a natural growth and things change, when Harry grows up and graduates Hogwarts, there is that sadness of leaving Hogwarts and all the stuff that Hogwarts gives you. Like, I've talked with a few people where they were like, listen, I really disliked the last few books, especially the last book, because it just wasn't about Hogwarts. The biggest draw for them was Hogwarts and this kind of daily routine, this comfort daily routine and everything for it. So it gives us the growth without the negative of leaving or breaking apart or anything like that. We had a little bit of that in season 2 with the drama and conflict or anything like that. Let's see. But we can kind of continue from here. And it also gives him a good reason to continue with the client because he wants to work with Serizawa and everything. And Serizawa and Reagan's characters are going to be perfect together because he's a confident, and has 0 powers, and he has zero social skills and 0 confidence. But powers. And so this makes them a great team. So I just think that was very, very well done in terms of the setup. Because what you want to do is, he probably wants to do is we want to free Mob up to do something else. So Mob, what do? What is he going to do for it? So we've got this here. And this is where I have no idea what we're actually going to do. But basically what it can do is it can involve more aspects of the romance, basically. We can go more romance. We can go more on an individual journey. This is would be a good thing to explore from here, because basically all the other side characters, their power differences are like down here, and Mob is up here. Basically, like there is no contest between them, more or less. So this you kind of Krillin your side characters here. And if you don't know what that is, basically what it is, you have a character that starts off with the main character, but then the main character's progression is so drastic that the side character becomes useless, basically. Like, they just become fodder, which happened to Krillin, more or less. And Renji, I think, for Bleach, is the other one it happened to. And so you don't want to do that to your side characters, but either way, that's aside. But basically, this gives us an option to kind of send Mob off on his own from here. We've got another aspect where he could leave. I don't think he'll want to do this one, but who knows? He could leave, go to a different country. He could actually really go for different traveling. So these are all physical aspects, but these are all potentials brought around by the ending for it. So let's see from here. The other thing that's been done really well is the potential romance from here. And this is something that we can really see develop in season 3, basically. Yeah. In season 3 from here, he's getting older. He can focus on more school stuff, so we can see him develop in school more or less. Because remember, the audience wants Mob to succeed. But how he succeeds is it depends, basically, from here, more or less. Basically, we can set what success is. Either it's let's see, defeat the crazy demon, ghost, or win the girl. Basically, these are drastically different ones, but it could be either one of these. So this is so we could change the paradigm in terms of this is how he succeeds. He wants to exercise, basically, from here, continue to growing with body positivity or body, whatever the body improvement club. That's what it is, body improvement club. Body Improvement Club from there. We can see just how he wants to grow and kind of continue to move upward from there. That's kind of one option because, and this is another thing that the story's done really good, is it included the side characters. Even at the end of the season, basically, we saw them return to the Body Improvement Club, more or less. From here, more or less. Let's see. Now, the other thing that we could do really well in Season 3, which would be awesome, especially with these awesome side characters that we've got. So we've got, of course, we've got Serizawa. Of course, the Umbrella guy. We're going to do... from here, we've got Onigawara. And he's the Pompadour guy. So... Pompadour. We've got them. We've got the other members of the Body Improvement Club. More or less, we can kind of see how it goes from there. We've got Kurata, who is the lady who this girl who believes in aliens. We've got her. We've got, I want to say, Masato, I guess is her name. This is the camera girl, the newspaper camera girl, who wants Mob to become famous, basically. We got her. The camera girl that we can go deference. We've got Takane, or Takane, however we say it. This is the actual love interest character from here. Let's see if I can do her hair. There we go. That's okay. We'll do giant eyeballs then. There we go. From her, you've got her aspect, basically all these characters. So what we can do then is, instead of Mob succeeding, is he tries to help others, basically. So he's trying to help others succeed, and in order to truly help others, you have to support them, basically. You can't do everything for them. And this is something, where, again, where I said kind of change the dynamic. Where was it? Oh yeah, to one of these other ones, maybe like social skills more or something, or trying to figure out ways to use his psychic power in a way that will help his others with their own personal development, basically. So this is not something where raw strength can't help, which is good because Mob is insanely strong with raw strength. More or less from here. So this is another action that it could go forward from here. It could be a, I think we talked, was individual journey. This could be a personal journey or something like this, where he tries to figure out, what do I want to do? What do I want to be when I grow up? This is all the stuff everyone has to go forward with, and he has to figure out what he wants to spend the rest of his life doing. What do I want to be when I grow up? Basically, these are kind of all the different questions and stuff we can answer in Season 3 from here. Obviously, from here, then, combining all this, what we can do is come up with an enemy. Right now, this is the enemy scale. Is we've had an enemy that's pretty much located to a cult in Japan. I think technically he traveled the world and stuff, but I feel like they were all Japanese. So you could easily go into with, let's say this enemy in Season 2, we'll give it a rating of a 2, just to match. So then in order to increase with this upward trajectory, a bigger, better, bigger, better, and better. This is what you want your villains to do every single season, is to fulfill these. So in Season 3, we need a 3. What would this be? This would be a villain in, let's say, America. We'll pick on America. Or something like that. So what basically, or bigger area. So we've got a bigger country. We could go with even greater than that if we really wanted to. If we really wanted to ramp it up, we could go with an alien. That would be... oops, I read the first time. Alien. We could go with an alien. Some character like that, where it immediately, that would be probably, I don't know. I'm making up numbers, basically, but compared to what it was, just regular human, we're going up crazy, which could be awesome, depending on how you want to do it. Now, the problem is, this is where you want to really think about and figure out what you want to do, is that in Season 4, this is an alien, that would basically make this a 10. We'll just call it a 10. And I'm just using this in terms of what I'm projecting. It could be, if the alien's lame, it's going to be like a 1, if it's a terrible alien. But I'm assuming this is going to be a good alien. So this is it. Now the problem though is season 4, we've got to do something better than an alien. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? A super alien? A big alien? We do a big alien. But again, so season 3 is really going to determine what we can do in season 4. So you want to make sure that these are spaced and kind of set up accordingly, or else you're really going to hamper and have a hard time coming up with something better. Or do we just end? You know, if the show ends, then it's no problem. No problem. Go as big as you want. Oops, it's supposed to be G. Go big. From there, that could be it. We've got a few other examples from here we can go. I really think it would be fun to see his brother develop. I should have characterized that with his brother. His brother character down here is another one we can really expand his character with. This is someone, let's see, he's got more of a main character haircut. I'm kind of butchering it, but that's okay. So we've got this guy for this one. So there's a number of different options we can kind of go with this, and all of this is wrapped up in just kind of what we're going to be creating for season 3. So it'll be interesting to see. I think season 3 is actually out now. I think it's been out or ongoing at the moment. So I'll probably be watching that soon and trying to see kind of where I wanted to go from here. But basically, this is kind of what I would recommend everyone to keep in mind and consider in terms of how to think on a season or story level, where think of the sequels, basically. You know, think of what you want to do. Think of the children, think of the sequels. That's what you want. Definitely recommend that. So, and just keep all this in mind in terms of when you're writing a sequel, because you want to make sure that you're including everything that you need to in terms of how to make something succeed and how to make it work. You know, how to make this story work from here. So, again, I hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will see you in the next one.